Testing 1, 2, 3. Okay, here I am. Bon Appetit, sour cream and onion biscuits. Molly, take 1.
I love it.
Hey everyone, I'm Molly, and I am here on day... I already f***ed it up. Hey everyone, I'm Molly. It is week 4 of working from home, so I'm in my home kitchen today, and I'm gonna show you how to make sour cream and onion biscuits. This is a recipe that came out right around the time that everyone started to work from home, so I've been seeing a lot of you making them already. But for those of you who haven't made it yet, most of the ingredients are already in your pantries, and it's pretty riffable. But before we do that, I have a special guest joining me today, my dad, who is on the other side of the country, staying safe in upstate New York. We haven't seen each other in 6 or 8 weeks, so he's gonna make the biscuits today also from his home kitchen, and then we'll have a biscuit together at the end. Wow, look at that. Oh, did we lose him? Dad? Oh, there you are. Hi, Dad.
Hi, honey.
Do you want to show us around your kitchen a little bit, Dad?
Sure.
I'm guessing Mom cleaned the shit out of it.
Yes, she did. Yes, she did.
There we are. Nice stove.
And I've been well trained, so I have my stuff out and ready here.
Have you ever made biscuits from scratch?
I don't think so.
You have the recipe on Basically with the tutorials, right? I'll call you back in a little while and see where things are at, and we'll go from there.
All right, let's do this.
Okay. I love you, and I'll see you in a little bit.
Okay. Good luck with yours.
Oh, thank you. I'm not super worried about it.
All right, bye.
Okay, bye. Okay, I have 8 scallions here. I'm going to trim the hairy, nubbly ends of and discard those because they're not super tasty. You'll also want to take a look at the green ends of the scallions and make sure that there aren't any either bruised, brown, or wilty green ends. But if they all look super nice and green, leave them on because we're gonna utilize this entire scallion in the biscuit. And then thinly slicing them crosswise. Whew! And my eyes are watering. Whew. So for the dry ingredients, I'm grabbing a big bowl and I'm gonna whisk together 2.5 cups of flour. And I'm gonna show you the proper way to measure flour because a lot of people, I think, take their measuring cup and they dig it into the bowl of flour and it comes back half full and they dig again. And every time that you do that, you're compacting the flour down into your measuring cup, which means you're actually measuring more flour per cup than you would otherwise. So the proper way to measure flour is to, from a large bowl of flour, fluff the flour up with a fork or a spoon and then gently spoon it into your measuring cup like this. And that'll give you the most accurate measurement. So I'm gonna do this again for 2.5 cups total flour. So there's 2, 2.5. So we're gonna keep this on standby. This is called bench flour, which basically just means extra flour that you'll use to dust your work surface or your bench as you're folding the dough. The rest of the dry ingredients that are gonna get whisked into this are 2.5 teaspoons of Diamond kosher salt, 1.25 teaspoons of sugar. It's there for flavor, not really for sweetness. 1/2 teaspoon of baking soda, 1.75 teaspoon of baking powder. Text from Dad. The entire scallion stem to stem ? Answer yes. At this point, I'm gonna add a teaspoon of freshly ground black pepper. And the reason that it's important to grind your pepper freshly every time is that the stuff that's pre-ground was ground who knows how long ago, months, maybe years ago, and there's really no flavor, aroma, or heat left in that. So you want it to be as fresh as possible. And then just whisking all that together so that the leaveners, salt, sugar, pepper are all evenly distributed throughout the flour and set it aside. There's a lot of butter in these biscuits. There is actually 10 tablespoons of butter, but that's what makes them so tender, so moist, and so flaky. I'm taking 10 tablespoons from this package, so 8 tablespoons is 1 stick, so about that. Another 2 tablespoons is 10. We're gonna reserve another 2 tablespoons for melting and brushing over the biscuits later on. And I just pulled this butter out of the fridge because it's imperative that your butter be as cold as possible. The cold butter is going to melt in the oven, and as it melts, it's going to create steam, and that steam will force the biscuits to rise up and will actually like physically create those striated flaky layers. So that's why we do this. And now I'm gonna add them into the flour mixture. At this point, I'm gonna work the butter into the flour by pinching and squeezing my fingers and sort of like smashing and flattening the butter into the flour mixture as I go. It takes a couple of minutes, so stick with it. You want to work as quickly as possible because again, your hands are warm, they'll warm the butter. So the faster you get this job done, the colder your butter will be. In a couple of minutes, you'll see that they're all broken down to about the size of a pea. Obviously, it's okay if they're not all exactly the same size. You just don't want any chunks that are still like the size of the cubes when they started. Those will actually take too long to melt in the oven, and you'll end up having like a greasy biscuit. But it'll start to look kind of sandy in here. And that's what we're looking for. So the butter is now cut into the flour, as they say. Now we're going to add the scallions, and you can just use your hands to sort of fluff them all together. And now I'm going to make a well, and I'm adding 1 1/4 cups of sour cream. And now taking a fork, working in a circular motion, I'm incorporating the flour into the sour cream mixture little by little. And eventually, these very large clumps are going to start to form as the sour cream hydrates the flour and butter mixture and turns it into a dough. I'm going to grab that bench flour that we talked about earlier, flour my hands, flour the bench, and using floured hands, I'm just gonna kind of knead it into a slightly more manageable mass in the bowl before turning it out. And don't leave any of that behind because it'll all get worked in. So we have our mass, and I am patting it down and just kind of incorporating any loose floury bits. And I'm patting it into a very rough 8 by 4 inch rectangle. You're looking for about 1 inch thick overall. But basically what you're doing here is forming it into a rectangle that can then be folded. So taking one side of the letter and folding it in, and then taking the other side of the letter and folding that in, and now smashing that down. So basically just like forcing a layer upon layer of dough to ensure that we get that nice flaky lift. And now I'm patting it down into the same size 8 by 4 inch-ish rectangle. One side in, other side in, bench flour, boom, 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 and then patting it back into an 8 by 4 one last time. Okay, this feels pretty good to me. And now, using a floured knife so that it doesn't stick, I'm gonna cut this lengthwise into 2 equal logs. Separate those 2 logs, flour again, and then cut each of these logs into 4 biscuits. Okay, so I'm just patting them right back into a square. These are going on a parchment-lined baking sheet. That remaining 2 tablespoons of butter that we set aside earlier is just getting melted very gently so that we can brush it on top of the biscuits, and that will give them like a nice buttery, crispy sheen. In the meantime, I'm just gonna clean up a teensy bit. Uh-oh, so the butter is melted. I do not have a pastry brush, but it's nothing we can't solve. I'm gonna take a spoon and just spoon the melted butter over each one, and then I'm gonna use a clean finger to spread it around to make sure it's evenly coated. And honestly, even the back of a spoon will work. And then here's another thing. I don't have Malden salt, but I do have a Himalayan pink salt grinder. So we're doing pink salt today. And that's just a little like crunchy, textural, salty finish. All right, these are going into a 425 degree oven for 18 to 22 minutes, depending on how hot your oven is, how big it is. So we'll keep an eye on them. Okay, let's check in on Doug Baz. Oh, there he is.
Okay, here we go. I know that you've often talked about cooking clean. Is that the expression?
I just said it.
That's not my jam. Not with flour, I guess.
Why aren't you wearing an apron, you crazy man?
I'm going to take this off.
No, don't do it.
I'm going to take this off.
Oh my God. Oh my God. You totally set me up for that. Oh, God. You're the most embarrassing.
I'll show you my biscuits now.
Oh, Dad, how come there's only 6 of them?
I don't know. I just cut them. I like them bigger. I like them bigger.
Okay. Oh, it was very intentional.
Yes.
And you did the letter folding technique?
I did it 3 times. Yeah. I'm ready.
So they look great. Okay, and you put flaky salt on top of those?
Flaky salt and melted butter.
Perfect. Okay, throw them in the oven. It's preheated.
Preheated, yep.
Throw them in there, and mine are in the oven too. I'll show you. I'll give you a quick sneak peek. Here's mine. They're in the oven.
Ooh. Nice.
Okay, Dad. So your timer's set. Let's chat when they're out of the oven.
Okay.
Don't eat one without me, okay?
Okay, I won't.
Okay, see you in a bit. Okay, so it has been 22 minutes, which is on the upper end of the range that you'll see in the recipe. That's because this oven that I'm cooking with here runs a little bit lower in temperature than the one that I cook with in the test kitchen, which is super powerful. So get to know your own oven and don't pull them out until they look golden brown and delicious. I'm gonna give you a little look inside the oven. There they are. They're nice and fluffy, golden on top and around the edges, and they look finished. Now we're gonna check back in with my dad and we're gonna have ourselves a biscuit. There he is.
Yours out?
Mine are out. Are yours out?
Yeah.
Let me see. Looking good, Dad. Can you pick up a hero biscuit for me? Nice separation of layers. They look fluffy.
They're very light.
Yeah.
I'm surprised given how big they are. When do we get to eat them?
Right now. Let's go for it. Okay, I'm cracking in.
Oh, yeah.
You see that steam?
Oh.
And I like to put a little extra flaky sea salt on once the butter's on there too. Cheers. Thanks for making biscuits with me, Dad.
My pleasure, really.
We can't see you, Duck.
Oh.
There he is. He's back.
I made an extra one.
Uh-oh. I knew you were up to something. Oh my God. Dad.
Can you see it?
Yeah, I can see it. So the backstory here is that growing up, when we would have biscuits, the Bisquick biscuits in the morning, he would always shape them into the first initial of our name. So I always had an M biscuit in the morning. So now I understand where those other 2 missing biscuits went. Another trick up your sleeve.
That's where they went.
Hi, honey.
Hi, Mom. You let him do that?
I didn't know. I didn't know about either of his surprises. These were middle of the night.
He always has something up his sleeve. It was easy though, too, right?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. It was a piece of cake, so to speak.
A piece of biscuit.
Piece of biscuit.
All right, well, love you, Mom. I'm going to share the rest of the biscuits with Ben and Toons.
Okay.
I love you.
Keep up the good work. I love you.
Okay,
Bye.
talk soon.
How long is this step going to take?
They're still on.
Let's see. I have to get off of this somehow.
End the call.